Elie, over these past 2 months, I thought we'd become pretty close. Sounds like all the important issues she's dealing with flew right over my head. I suppose it makes sense that Mayor McDowell's granddaughter is an inspiring politician herself. Now that I think about it, you didn't attend the police academy, right, Elie? So how'd you happen to join the CPD? Well, to be honest, this is part of my plan to study our society. While I didn't attend the academy, I did take a written exam and marksmanship test when I applied. They couldn't really reject me since I made perfect marks on both tests. You know, the more I learn, the more I feel like we're worlds apart. Oh? But it's pretty rare for rookies to already earn their detective license, isn't it? You have your own circumstances, right, Lloyd? Perhaps it'd be best to continue this talk after we officially become co-workers. Alright. I'll try talking to Elie for a bit. If she's worried about something, I might be able to lend a shoulder. And is it time we continue that conversation we started? Alright, let's go start talking to people. Oh, what you up to, Lloyd? Going out on the town? Well, not exactly. It's about Mademoiselle, then. Well, I'm sure she has her own things to worry about, you know? Not sure if it's the kind of stuff we should really be buttoned into, though. Yeah, that might be true. But still, if something's on her mind, I want her to know she can rely on us. Oh, it's just you. Don't come in bringing down the mood, got it? Sorry about that. Still working, Chief? The SSS, unconventional as it may be, is still part of the CPD, so that means paperwork. If you don't have any pressing issues, kid, could you leave me to this? I'd like to get this all finished before daybreak, you know? Right, sorry for the interruption. Zyke definitely enjoys his lounging. Oh, were you busy reading some, Tio? Yes, I was halfway through this science journal, actually. Lloyd, about... I know, you're worried about Elie too, aren't you? I was just thinking about going to talk to her. Is that so? If that is the case, I will let you handle it, Lloyd. After all, dealing with these sorts of issues doesn't fall into my area of expertise. She's bad at communicating. Here goes nothing. Elie, do you have a minute? No reply. Is she asleep? No, I don't sense anyone inside. How can you sense if there's anyone in there? I hope she doesn't mind me checking. Just as I thought, she's not here. Where could she have gone? Maybe I should try searching for her. Psychic! Hey, Elie. How'd you know it was me? Just a hunch. I think I somehow knew you would come. So you did. Breathtaking as always. Isn't that the IBC in the distance? Yes, it is. I doubt you would find a night sky as beautiful as Crossbells, even if you scoured the entire continent. I don't know. Liberal has some nice views. Come on. Yet, the more lights of the city shine, the more the stars seem to dim. The purity of starlight, the symbol of Idios' love. Elie, you remember everything that happened today, don't you? With Ravache, Heiue, and Dudley. No matter what you do, you can't change Crossbell's true nature. Ravage's iron grip here is here to stay. I am merely referring to them as our fellow business competitors. State law protects competition between business and free trade, you know. Do you take offense with that, officers? We're charged with maintaining a certain degree of order in a city where justice has an uphill battle as is. We're expected to suppress major crimes and protect the public from criminal organizations and foreign intelligence agencies. Can you possibly fathom the work that goes into that? Therein lies the city's darkness, the tragic truth of the state called Crossbell. We're kept alive only by the will of the Empire and the Republic, stripped of all our pride, lied to, and deceived. We're drowning in false prosperity and frivolities only because our captors allow it. Everyone just surrenders to these circumstances and accepts the status quo, blissfully ignorant. That is the city we live in. Maybe you're right, but you don't want to surrender just yet, do you, Ellie? I once had a mother and father. Once had? Oh, I suppose putting it like that makes it sound as if they passed away. They're still very much alive. What I meant to say is, they divorced when I was little. My mother lives in the Empire now, and my father lives in the Republic. I had no idea. My father was born and raised in the Republic. He moved to Crossbell City, met my mother, and after marrying into the MacDowell family, he strove to become a politician. Immediately after becoming a Diet member, he recognized the ugly, distorted reality of the city. As someone with a strong sense of justice, he made it his duty to mend this broken city. Year after year, he drafted reform bills, all in the hopes of bringing change to the state. That's amazing. It's not. In the end, his bills were never passed. The Imperial and Republican factions both shunned him, ridiculed him. One by one, his allies betrayed him, friends left him, and he became the laughingstock of the political world. Not even my grandfather, as well respected as he is for being neutral, was able to mend his career. Crossbell brought my father to utter despair. And then one day he quit, as a Diet member, as a husband, and as my father. He decided to leave everything behind for Calvert. Mother couldn't stop him, and at the same time she couldn't follow him while dragging me along. Eventually they settled on a divorce, and my father was gone for good. I always thought Mother hated him for what he did, but I'm sure she was just heartbroken. It soon became apparent that living in Crossbell, the state that robbed her of her love, would be too much to bear. My mother left me behind in Crossbell and went to live with her relatives in Erebonia. Then I was taken in by grandfather, who raised me to who I am now. It was from that moment on that I vowed to follow grandfather down the path of politics. It's not as if I feel any urge to avenge my father or anything like that. I couldn't accept reality. How could a family so jubilant and loving end up in absolute shambles that quickly? After I made my decision, grandfather began to help me. I studied abroad all over the continent, focusing on politics and economics. However, the more I studied, the more I realized that the gears of Crossbell were powered by oppression. Oppression created by the Empire and the Republic. Our justice, our national interests are intertwined with Erebonia and Calvert, only serving to blur the lines between what we need and what they want. There we go. That was when I finally saw it for myself. Crossbell's barriers. Sorry. Yes, the same ones my father faced, and ones I'm sure my grandfather faces too. Do you know who the leader of the Crossbell state government is, Lloyd? Isn't it Mayor McDowell? Well, yes, but there's technically two people, the Crossbell City Mayor and the Speaker of the Diet. Grandfather and the Imperial faction Speaker, Hartman, jointly represent our government. That's how we operate, according to the state law. Sounds like I neglected some of my studies. But wait, why did Crossbell adopt such a divided system in the first place? That's obvious. If two equal representatives continually hinder things by butting heads, political reform is nigh impossible. No way! Is that really how things are? I'm afraid so. With two people on top, one side can easily sabotage the other if they try to push some sort of reform through. The fact that this happens is an ironic inevitability given Crossbell's founding. 70 years ago, Crossbell State was born from a mutual agreement between Erebonia and Calvard. In fact, Crossbell's founder were none other than Imperial and Republican lawyers. Seeing the current state of Crossbell, I can't help but think of it as a curse. I was at a loss. If I were to continue into the world of politics, that same curse would grab me by the neck and drag me under, just like my father. That's why I decided on a new approach, one my family hadn't tried yet. And that was the CPD? Yes. From there, I told myself I could observe Crossbell's distortion without looking through the muddied lens of politics. I convinced myself that my experiences gained here would be my weapon of choice on the day I entered Crossbell's political arena. The reform that my father failed to achieve and grandfather is unable to pursue. I thought that this new, unblemished perspective could finally make it become a reality. I'm sure it can. Perhaps, but in the back of my mind, I know that joining the CPD might have only been an escape. I knew that what happened today was inevitable. But still, the reality of things was even colder and crueler than I had imagined. When confronted with it, I was at a loss. Maybe I'm incapable of doing anything on my own after all. Maybe I'm just a broken little girl, abandoned by her mother and father. So what?
Huh?
You really are a perfectionist, aren't you, Elie? Failure isn't an option. The only way forward is to place everything on my shoulders here and now. That's the way you've been thinking, isn't it?
That's not...
Look, I agree. Today sucked. Being ridiculed, having to hear all that all of our efforts are in vain. But think about it. Aren't those the things we signed up for when we joined the SSS? Remember, Elie, there may be barriers we can't get over today, but that doesn't mean we won't be able to get over them tomorrow.
Barriers we can't get over today.
Right now, the one in front of us is the threat letter case. And even though the 1st Division has taken control of the investigation from us, I say we continue investigating separately from them.
What? But there's nothing we can do about it, is there?
Sure, the 1st Division may be phenomenal, but even so, it's obvious that they're stuck in a cop's mindset, only adhering to traditional logic. Maybe a new perspective is exactly what's needed to crack this case. At least that's how I feel about things.
Lloyd.
Just like how you joined the CPD to gain a new perspective on Crossbell, right? Should we miraculously solve this case then? Surely what you're aiming for isn't an impossibility either. I'll admit that comparing our current investigation to Crossbell's underlying issues is a bit of an oversimplification. But what we need right now is the experience of overcoming these kinds of obstacles. Think about it. Clear the small barriers one by one. If we do that, then someday we'll have the power to get over the taller ones too.
In these 2 months we've been together, I've come to realize something. You have your own set of barriers you want to overcome, don't you? And if that's the case, how are you able to stay so optimistic?
Well, let's see. Maybe it's because I have someone I'm trying to catch up to. Though that in itself may present some issues.
I think I understand. But I'm not as strong as you are. I'm just so tired of it all. I didn't come up here with the intention of spilling everything about my past like I did. I just couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. At this rate, I'm only going to drag the team down. And if that's the case, I should probably...
Elie? We need you, Elie. Your profound knowledge, your negotiation skills, your sharpshooting, your sense of justice. If we're going to stand up to this city, we're going to need you.
But...
Let me rephrase that. While all of that's true, my point is this. I'd be happy to have you by my side, Elie.
Well, what?
All of us were a bit of a mess at the start, but I think we've gotten pretty close over the past 2 months. Even when we're bombarded with the stress of daily life, we make time for small things, like deciding whose turn it is to cook. We've come to a place trust in each other's individual strengths. Shouldn't we be grateful to have partners like that?
Well,
we may still be rookies, sure. But it's too early for us to underestimate Crossbell. But it's also too early to let it beat us. We'll tackle each day head on and do whatever we can and keep relentlessly confronting the status quo. And if that somehow fails, we'll just come up with a new plan. Not just me, but Randy and Tio too. I have no doubt that the chief would do everything in his power to help us out as well. Heck, even Zeit has our backs now. Bottom line, you're not alone, Elie.
I'm not alone? You're absolutely right. I'm disappointed that I forgot something as simple as that. Thank you, Lloyd. Even though it won't be easy to solve all of my problems, I do feel a little better now.
Glad to hear it.
Still, apart from the lines that sounded like they came straight out of a teen drama, I was a bit surprised.
I'm painfully aware of how cheesy they were, okay? But what do you mean by surprised, Elie?
Because, well, talking about how I'm needed and telling me you want me by your side. I thought you were confessing to me.
Confess? Wait, hold the phone. That wasn't my intention at all.
Oh? Are you implying I'm not worth confessing to?
You know that's not it. Oh, come on. You're just teasing me now, aren't you?
Just a small dose of payback. You should be a bit more self-aware, though. Honestly, I don't know whether to call you a natural smooth talker or an up-and-coming womanizer.
Hey, hold on a sec. Are you still talking about me, or did you switch to Randy?
Your denseness doesn't help your case any either. Good grief, Lloyd. I can't believe that words alone made me get all flustered like that.
What'd you say? I missed that.
Nothing. I'm really sorry for leaving the chief's report all up to you. Have you come up with a plan about the investigation yet?
Not yet. Right now, the case hinges on figuring out what Yin hopes to accomplish. Tomorrow we can ask around and see if we can't find the sort of lead based on that.
That's fine by me. Thanks to you, I have a feeling that I'll be sleeping soundly tonight. How about we hold a meeting tomorrow morning, after we get our much-needed rest?
Sounds like a plan. Lloyd and Elie learn Star Blast. By spending 100 CP each, a powerful combination attack can be unleashed. Oh, isn't that like what Estelle and Joshua did last chapter? Oh, anyway. That concludes this week's report. The warhounds they've trained may prove troublesome. If Master Yin were available, he would easily compensate for our lack of force. Very well. Proceed with preparations as planned. Next on the agenda, recall half our personnel currently dispatched in Altair. Understood. I shall take my leave, Master Chow. Have a pleasant evening. Yes, to you as well. How troublesome. I'll have to worry about the consequences later if I request the Elder's assistance. If only Master Yin were more cooperative, our plans would be proceeding splendidly. Worry not. I plan to uphold my end of the bargain. It shouldn't surprise me that you were eavesdropping. Dear me, I fear I may have made a few slip of the tongues. Please, as if you did not say those things intentionally. Always the tough customer, aren't you, Chow? I feel like I'm mispronouncing that. Goodness, no. You, on the other hand. Never mind that. Do you wish to discuss business tonight? Or are you perhaps in the mood to cull some warhounds? Your subordinates are more than capable enough to handle such minor threat. The deal was to have me take care of Ravache's main force, beginning with that man Garcia. But do correct me if I'm mistaken. Oh dear, you truly are no fun. It's come to my attention that you've become entangled with Arc-en-Ciel for some odd reason. Just a reminder that the CPD isn't too shabby at their job, so don't do anything to soil my good name. Do I make myself clear? No need to worry. More importantly, what kind of impression has the Special Support Section left on you? Oh, so that's your game. You have ties to them, don't you? Do you? Let's see, they're an odd combination of children, especially their leader, Lloyd. He's perfectly aware of his weakness, yet he continues to push forward with determination. His intuition is enough to keep him on his toes, too. I quite like his type, to be honest. I was not asking about your tastes. What about their other members? Again, each one of them proves to be quite interesting. Mayor McDowell's granddaughter possesses a keen sense of diplomacy and operates as the team's administrator. As for the girl from the Epstein Foundation, while her orbal staff itself is fascinating, she is likely hiding a few tricks up her sleeve. Lastly, we have our ginger gentleman. This may only be my intuition speaking, but I felt he's the same as us. Surely you understand. Yes. I must ask, why have you taken such great interest in them? Whatever do you mean? I only wish to put them to a little test. A request from Yin. Was I right to entrust them with such a task? What? Oh, a new Dane crossbow. Isn't it a bit ridiculous? Despite our work, we have no choice but to hand the case over to the 1st Division. Vixia was smart enough to ask us, but just imagine if she hadn't. Everything we learned about Yin would have stayed in the dark. Yeah, I know. If only there was some kind of diversion that would allow us to continue investigating. Let's think for a minute. Who would know about the existence of Yin? Well, obviously Heiyue, considering that's his current employer. And then there's their rival, Ravache, in the 1st Division, who's tracking Heiyue's movements, according to Dudley. From there, we can assume that Speaker Hartman, who's closely tied to Ravache, knows about him as well. That's the man you mentioned yesterday, right, Elie? Yes,
He's a career politician who more or less rules over the Diet, serving as the leader of the Imperial faction. Honestly, it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that he's Ravashe's greatest supporter. Incidentally, almost all of Grandfather's reform bills were crushed by this man.
I've always heard his name, but I never understood the weight behind it. But in this instance, wouldn't Yin be their opponent?
That would make sense.
Tio, Randy?
You two look completely bewildered. Is there something we're missing?
No, it's just...
You seem to be in a much better mood today, Elie. I guess so. I'm sorry about yesterday, everyone. I wasn't acting like myself. But I'm fine now, and I don't intend to be a burden to the team.
You've never been a burden to us, Elie. Quite the opposite, actually. You help us all out all the time. I mean, look at us right now. You're making connections in this case that I'd never be able to make.
I guess so.
Something smells fishy.
Agreed. Something is off. Very off.
What's that supposed to mean?
Wait a minute, you two.
You know, I could hear a pair of voices chattering away on the roof from my window. I wonder...
Congratulations, Lloyd and Elie. I wish the best for you two.
Hold on. We didn't do anything that warrants congratulations, right, Elie?
Yes, I mean, no. We were just talking about life and other things of that nature.
Life, huh? Uh-huh. I'm sure you did. So, Lloyd, how far did you go?
Randy! Please, Tio's sitting right there. How far did you go? Is Randy referring to the intimacy between people engaged in romantic relationships?
Nope, not at all. Lloyd and Elie. Jeez, you guys are insane. Me and Elie together, romantically? Say the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
What was that?
I mean, we're kind of incompatible, and everything last night was strictly professional. Right, Elie? What's the matter?
You numbskull. You just signed your death warrant, Lloyd. Oh yes, you are so right, Lloyd. All I did was ask you for some advice on a very unimportant subject, that's all. And there most definitely wasn't any sort of romantic atmosphere like you oh so graciously pointed out.
Uh-huh. Alright then. You know, by incompatible, I only meant that we don't exactly make a good match. Well, on the bright side, it looks like you've perked up since yesterday, Mademoiselle.
Thank goodness. I was not sure whether or not you were going to stay with the CPD. I'm sorry, I never meant to make you all worry. I don't know where the future will take me, but right now, I know this is where I'm meant to be. So everyone, I'm happy that I get to keep working with you. Good to have you back, Elie.
Ha, damn straight. Besides, doubt we'd get anything done around here without you to keep us from goofing off.
I wouldn't have been so stern all the time if you three would just stay on task. Well, that's enough of that. Do we have any ideas what to do about the investigation from here on out?
Good question.
We could always attempt to corner Yin with a different approach than the one the First Division is using. But considering how many methods there actually are, we might just end up even more confused than we are now.
Yeah, that's probably not the best strategy. How about we go on a little trip to Calvert's eastern quarter? I bet we'd find a few clues about Yin there. Are you being serious, Randy?
Would we even get permission to go on a business trip? Given our team's situation, I doubt we'd be allowed to travel very far.
Tio?
Did you think of something? I was contemplating looking into the police database for a bit. Perhaps I would be able to learn about the First Division's movements and so on. Then again, I already searched it last night, so it has likely not been updated since.
It's not a bad idea. Hey, it beats sitting around here and not doing it and doing nothing.
Ah,
What's wrong?
how strange. It seems as though we have received an orbmail.
What's that again?
Aren't they essentially letters that can be sent from terminal to terminal?
You got mail.
Precisely. The peculiar thing is, despite being extremely useful, almost no one in the CPD uses orbmail. Most likely because not many officers are trained to use keyboards.
I'm one of those, unfortunately. Well, who's it from?
Let me check. What?
Is something wrong?
Who would send us?
I, Yin, hereby submit my support request. Overcome this trial and face me. Only then will I grant you your mission. It's him! Is this some kind of joke?
Tio, where was the mail sent from? Definitely not the police department. Got it. It was sent from the International Bank of Crossbell, otherwise known as the IBC.
What exactly does it mean? The IBC is that bank that rakes in mirror from all over Zemuria, right? Why the hell would a place like that be sending us prank mail?
Do not ask me. I can say, however, that this mail was definitely sent from an IBC terminal. I have no way of knowing who sent it, though.
Could it be possible that Yin infiltrated the IBC?
It's not out of the question. The IBC building is home to quite a few external companies and organizations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is an Epstein Foundation office too. That is correct. An acquaintance of mine works there. However, I should have been more clear. The orbital mail was sent directly from the IBC's main terminal. Because of that, I think the possibility of an external company being involved is low.
Well, we won't know until we ask them. I wanted our investigation to fly under the First Division's radar, but we clearly don't have any other choice. Yeah, going undercover this time might be a little tricky. Should we hurry up and check it before they screw everything up again?
Actually, we may be able to perform our search in secret after all.
Really?
How exactly? My best friend's father works at the IBC. If we told him about our unique situation, he might give us a hand.
You think so? Hey, ain't that convenient? You got more connections than you know what to do with, Mademoiselle?
Well, I have a decent amount. Unfortunately, I have no way of knowing whether or not he's even in Crossbell City, given how hectic his schedule is. What sort of position does he hold there? A pretty important one. Honestly, I'd be surprised if you didn't know his name. Dieter Kroos?
What? What, he famous or something? Yeah, he is. Honestly, you can make the argument that he's just as popular as Ilya.
Dieter Kroos. He is a prominent Zemurian billionaire, a leader of the world economy, and the current CEO of the International Bank of Crossbell.
He runs the frickin' bank?
I originally knew him as an old friend of my father's, but he's also kept a friendly relationship with my grandfather. Because of that, I've known him a good portion of my life. Oh, and I almost forgot, his daughter is one of my closest childhood friends.
Wow, that's amazing. Thing is, we can't do much if he's not there, even if he's the CEO.
You're right. I heard that he spends almost half of the year flying abroad. Nevertheless, there's no harm in trying, is there? Even if he isn't in town, my friend might be. She may even be able to help us.
Let's do it then. I think we already have a rough idea of what the situation is, so we should know what in particular to investigate. The intentions behind the orbmail, right? It was rather intimidating, but what exactly does he plan to do? Well, he went out of his way to reach out to us and lay down a challenge. I say we take the bait.
Agreed. Shall we head to the IBC?
Oh my goodness. Okay, see if there's anything going on. Oh, there's quite a few going on. Fishing for ingredients, testaments training, rare herb retrieval, and East Crossbell Highway monster extermination. We're looking for ingredients for a new fish dish. Hurry over and talk to me at long allow. I'm counting on you. I'm requesting the special support section to train us to improve our combat skills. Desired duration 2 to 3 hours. If you accept, come to Trinity in the downtown district. I would like to inquire a certain herb used in internal medicine research. I will share more details in person, so please head over to St. Ursula Hospital's first floor internal medicine office. A dangerous monster, Savage Horn, has been sighted on East Crossbell Highway. We ask that the special support section deal with this threat swiftly. Be aware of its charge attack and snort attack that can inflict burns. Alright. Well, we're gonna go look into that next time. So next time on The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, we'll be tackling some of these support requests, and we'll also hopefully be going into the IBC to find out more about this suspicious orb mail. I'll see you guys then.